Okay, so it's exactly a few minutes past 4 p.m. here in Kigali, so it's all systems go. Welcome to the second edition of the YouthConnekt Hangout session. My name is George Ndirangwa, and just a slight reminder of what the YouthConnekt Hangout is. This is a platform that connects innovative youth and key players in the public, private, and financial sectors to shape their country and their futures through dialogue and debates to make us move forward. So we'll just start with the introduction of our panelists and the moderators, as well as the on-site locations we have today, then go straight to our agenda. We have a very special announcement for everyone watching us here locally in Rwanda and from different parts of the world. So we'll just go straight into it. To my exact left, I have Mr. Giovanni Nabwoba, the General Manager of K-Lab. We have Honorable Minister Jean-Philbert Nsengimana. And then to my opposite, we have Dr. Yvonne Mukama, the Deputy Director of the Rwanda Education Board. In the on-site locations that we have today, we have Friday James in Gasabo District. If you can hear us, just wave.
It's
okay, and then we have Samuel Musindi in Ngoma. So if you can hear us, just wave.
Always.
Another panelist joining us all the way from New York, we have Serge Kapto, the ICT for Development Advisor at the UNDP headquarters. So thank you very much for joining us at this particular point. I hope you can see that we are really eager for the Hangout session today. I'll just give the floor straight to Honorable Minister so that you can start us off, and then we'll have the announcement or more details given by the panelist, Mr. Serge Kapto, all the way from New York. So over to you, Honorable Minister.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning in New York. Again, we are very pleased and excited to be part of this second session of the Hangout this year. I think it is getting better and better at every edition. Today was a Hangout that was very highly expected because of the special announcement that's going to be made. I think the central theme is the same as the one we discussed last time. Last time we talked about the use of mobile devices, apps for development. We engaged around the people in different locations on what their experience using mobile apps has been, or what their experience developing those apps has been so far. And we all agreed that mobile applications hold a very great promise, not only for our socioeconomic development, but also for job creation for the individual developers who would be able to put on the market successful applications. So we are back now with a very specific announcement. I think today, thanks to Motorola Solutions, we're going to have a challenge to really test our abilities to be able to transform the skills that you have in terms of mobile programming, but also our understanding of the development and how we can match the two and be able to solve real life challenges. So this one is a hangout that particularly I personally have interest in, having had my previous job just before this one being exactly in the same business. I was involved with a software development company, just specializing especially on mobile applications for health, but we did some other applications for agriculture, and I'm so pleased to see that the two domains are back on board, and I'm right now wondering whether I should resign and join this contest. So I want to wish the very best to all the competitors, those who are following us live and those who are going to access this Hangout session once it is recorded and available online. This is really an exciting time. Being able to connect from multiple locations in the country, connect with the UNDP headquarters in New York, and broadcasting this session all over the world, it's just the tip of a big iceberg. I invite you to really try to go one level below and understand the full potential of what we are trying to do. Keeping in mind that worldwide, we've got, out of the 7 billion people in the world, 5 billion have access to the mobile phone. We've got 5 billion subscribers. Internet is not as much, but is really growing. And all those people are not only consumers of applications and services and content, but also they're also producers. I think some of the smartest boys in the house are going to find a way to include the people into the innovation process in either designing the solution or providing the data that those solutions need. So I just want to make you understand that what we are talking about is something that touches virtually everybody in our country and beyond. So it's a very exciting time, and without further ado, I'd like to thank my fellow panelists, Dr. Ivod from the Ministry of Education, Rwanda Education Board, and Giovanni from KLab, the Private Sector Federation, for joining us. And once again, thank all the organizations that have made this Hangout possible, especially UNDP, the African Media Academy, and everyone else, including the freelancers like Nirango. So thank you very much, and I look forward to the exciting exchanges ahead. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that introductory speech. We'll go straight to our panelists joining us all the way from New York, Mr. Serge Kapto, ICT for Development Advisor at the UNDP headquarters. So we would like you to, before we even go to anything, we'd like you to explain to us what exactly the challenge is that we are expecting to have today, what exactly it means having Motorola and UNDP and the MyICT coming together for this Hangout session and the subsequent Hangout sessions. So over to you, Mr. Serge.
Thank you, George. Honorable Minister, it's good to see you again. I know you can't see yourself. I can tell you that you look good.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to see that the discussions that we had last November in Kigali are bearing some fruit. Before I go into the challenge, I'll talk a little bit about how we understand the contribution of ICT to development, particularly to human development. I think the ministers have said a lot of it. I would just add that UNDP has been working on this for quite a while, since the 90s, the early 90s. UNDP has been looking at the potential of information and communication technologies to contribute to meeting the needs of people living in poverty and people living in disadvantaged circumstances, in marginalized groups, and the poorest of the poor, essentially. In UNDP, we see ICT both as a means and as an enabler of human development, and a means for local capacity, human inclusion, and democratic governance in particularly. I'm in the democratic governance group here in UNDP, and our focus essentially nowadays is to look at e-governance, which essentially is about how the new technologies can contribute to improving public service delivery, particularly for those that are living in the poorest conditions, and enabling their participation in decision-making that affect their lives. We've noticed some things very interesting happening in recent years, and that is mobile technologies, as the minister said. It's become quite widespread in developing countries as well as in developed countries. But something that's been really new is that it has shifted the innovation landscape. Innovation is not happening only in Silicon Valley anymore. Innovation also happens now in the South. And that's a very exciting phenomenon. It opens a wide range of possibilities that we didn't have before. And I'm particularly excited about it because I am from the South as well. I'm from Cameroon, so it means a lot to me that with new technologies, there are things that are possible in my village today that were not possible yesterday. The main thing about it is that it allows people from the South, innovators, but I wouldn't really restrict it to what we call innovators, entrepreneurs, anybody who wants to do something about the condition in their own communities, to take the matters in their own hands. and address issues for themselves. Mobile technologies, information and communication technologies enable them to develop their own solution to the challenges that they face in their communities. It wasn't really the case before. Before that, you really had international agencies like mine, like UNDP, or high-price consultants that would swoop in and develop some solutions that was not really adapted to the local circumstances. Now it's possible for the local communities to do something about it themselves. And there are a lot of examples of local communities, people taking the matters in their own hands. You've all heard of the Ushahidi platforms. Their applications in education, making more information available to students. There are applications in agriculture, which the minister knows very well. When we were there in November, there were some very exciting hackathon sessions with some great applications and some very innovative ideas on how to use mobile technologies and ICTs in the innovation field, in the agriculture field. And it was very energetic, and it was actually very heartening to see all the energy that you could see from young people there in the ICT for Agriculture conference. You have the banking application, and that's an area actually where the leadership is coming from Africa, and that leadership from Africa has been exported elsewhere in the world, including in developed countries, where now they're doing mobile banking, but mobile banking was born in Africa. Let's not forget that. You have application in mHealth, where pregnant women, for example, can get reminders on their mobile phones when they are due for medical prenatal exams. Now, the UNDP and Motorola have recognized these opportunities, and also we've seen that there were some challenges. Innovators in the South, their conditions are not ideal. They're facing very difficult conditions because, of course, they need to sustain themselves. And it's not as easy for them to find the opportunities or the avenues for their products and for their knowledge. We've noticed that many of the innovations from the South, aside from the very successful ones that have been exported, many of the innovations are not really sustainable, and many of them are not really scalable. So they are really limited to their communities, and it's very hard for them to generate enough resources to sustain themselves over time. The other challenge is that they are not very well known. Sometimes even the policymakers in their own countries don't know that these innovators are doing some great stuff that they can take advantage of. So looking at these challenges, UNDP and Motorola felt that that's something that we could do something about a little bit, or try raise the profile of these innovators, if possible, and look at ways to scale them up. It looks like we're having some additional
Yes. It is small glitch. We are being joined by Huye, Ayman Daisenga, and the group of all of them are joining us from Huye. So we have 5 locations right now as we speak. So carry on, Mr. Saj.
Yeah. So the initiative by UNDP Motorola was to kind of address these challenges and stimulate the diffusion of these innovations on a larger scale. Get policymakers, get international organizations be aware of the potentials that exist within their own countries, within their own communities, that they could take advantage of. And in doing so, maybe create some opportunities for the local developers to find avenues for their knowledge and for their product. So it's in that regard that we've started linking these innovators together in a network and showcasing what they're doing. We have a website for that, which is mobileforht.org. I think that you can see the banner behind me. And we had a first roundtable in Kenya in October, and then in Kenya it was actually in May, and then in October we were in Tunis, in November in Kigali. And it's been going strong. We're going to be in Johannesburg soon, probably during the spring, American spring of this year. And I have to say that there's quite a very exciting response from the local innovators wherever we go. They are very eager to participate in this network, exchange knowledge among themselves, and I think that's very important. Have that South-South collaboration that allows ideas to spread and allows knowledge to spread, and also to kind of raise some of the challenges that they have, and have an avenue where they can talk to us, international organizations, but also talk to their policymakers. We were fortunate to have Honorable Minister in the room when we were in Kigali, where he could hear some of the challenges that the Rwandans developers face. So it's having that platform where they can raise their concerns and maybe together find solutions or ways to address their concern. They found that it was very valuable. Now, when we were in Kigali, if you remember, you issued us a couple of challenges of your own. One was that we shouldn't just come and do a roundtable and leave. And I'm very happy that we have this ongoing initiative, YouthConnekt, which shows that we came to stay, so we're not leaving. Very happy to see that this is getting some traction. And the second challenge was that what we were doing really had to have an impact on people's lives. And I do believe that having this challenge, creating this opportunity, will actually impact some entrepreneurs. And I'm really hoping that it would have some effect. If it's not only seeding the ideas, seeding maybe some new ventures, some new initiatives that can come to something later on. And I'm going to end by saying this. There was last week, I don't know if you've seen it, in Forbes Africa, there was an article talking about the 30 most promising entrepreneurs in Africa. And there was none from Rwanda. And I really hope that one of the outcomes of this challenge is that next year in that list, we're going to have at least one from Rwanda that's listed among the most promising entrepreneurs in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So we would like to take this particular point before we continue to announce to all the sites that if you have any questions, you should prepare them before, because we are really keen on time and we'd like to address each and every one of them, not to run out of time, because we are sure we're going to have a comprehensive hangout session. So we have our YouthConnekt on Twitter. That is at youth at YOU Connect. That's YOUCONNEKT. That's for anyone who's following on Twitter with the hashtag YouthConnekt, or on Facebook. That's YouthConnekt. The two words YouthConnekt, CONNEKT. So you can follow us there if you're watching from anywhere around the world or in Rwanda. And the link to this hangout session will be posted right there on our social media pages. So you can also refer to the MyICT website, that is myict.gov.rw, and the UNDP website, which is www.undp.org, for more information about this application for human development and the competition that we are going to have. So we'd like to start with anyone who is here on the panel session. We'd like to know what you do and what exactly you do in regards to applications for human development. So we'll start with you, Mr. Giovanni.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, Serge in New York. I'm called Giovanni. I come from K-Lab. K-Lab is an open space where young entrepreneurs come and we help them develop their ideas into viable businesses. So, like he mentioned, the ICT for Agriculture hackathons, we hosted almost all of them in K-Lab. So we are a community of youth trying to make a difference. Like he's saying, we're saying, what do other continents have that we do not have in Rwanda? So we have a lot. So now I should probably name that we have about 3 that I don't know why Forbes didn't list them, but it's also a challenge that we should have more than 3. So that's basically what we are doing.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And
yes, I'm Evode Mukama. I'm from Rwanda Education Board, in charge of ICT in education, open distance learning. Of course, in ICT in education, this is a government agency. What we do is to promote youth to develop the applications that are useful for education purposes, mainly for teachers, for example. If we want to teach better, how can we facilitate teaching better in our schools? How can we connect teachers to the community, to the parents, and the children? And we need to know how maybe administration can work together with teachers. So what we do is to promote the innovations that young people bring to us, especially from KLab. We work very closely with KLab and other young innovators. So in ICT in education, we call them e-innovators. So they are our young who want to develop some applications that are useful for education. And so far we have not done enough, and we have not seen so many, but we would really would like to welcome innovators for development for the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll start some of the questions. We'll go straight into our questions for the day before we give the floor over to some of the panelists, from some of the moderators from the different sides. So I'll start, and Mr. Honorable Minister will be joining us very soon. And in our previous sessions, Mr. Giovanni, you were with us in our previous session. And one of the students from Huye, he was called Samuel, and he said that because we are on the situation we are discussing about mobile applications for human development, and Serge will help us as well if you have an opinion on this. Samuel said that he had done a mobile application. It was in regards to security, and he said that he had done it so well, he had done all his research, and he knew what he needed to do, but he did not know where to go from there. He did not know who to approach about it. He did not know where he could get more information on a local level, that is in Rwanda. So he did not know who exactly he would present that application to. So I could pass that over to General Manager of KLab, since you deal with these people directly. What would you tell to Samuel? I'm sure he's tuned in, or he will tune in to the link that we will give on our social media pages.
Thank you. I think it's unfortunate that probably Samuel didn't know KLab, because that's what we're there for. So basically, among the services we provide on top of like free hosting spaces and free domains and free office space, we also go the extra mile to link them to potential investors, because I'm sure after that stage, the next step that he was to go on to was financial viability of his product. So I think the answer is simple. You should just come to KLab. The doors are always open from 7 to 9 every day. So that's the answer. Thank you.
I think, Honorable Minister, we were saying that in our previous session there was a student who mentioned that he had done all the groundwork for an application and he did not know where to go from there.
Right.
So that is what Mr. Giovanni was saying, that he would have presented it to Giovanni. So I don't know, what about your experience?
Well, I'd like probably to pick on that and to thank Serge for linking this session with another roundtable that we had earlier last year, late last year. In fact, the idea, as you said, was really to go beyond the roundtable and come up with concrete opportunities for development and for the young people of Rwanda. It is exactly an illustration of what we want this Hangout exercise to be. We don't want this to just become a way of, looking at nice technology at work, connecting people from the different corners of the world and interacting live. That's very good in itself. But most importantly, the fact that we discuss concrete opportunities, things that make sense for each and everyone around the table. We want the people to come to the Hangout and go back and get busy doing something, and then come back, with some feedback and outcomes and ideas and things that really advance our own ambitions. So thank you very much, Serge and everyone at Motorola Solutions for providing this very exciting opportunity. So many more similar and better opportunities are going to be announced and come through this YouthConnekt Hangout program that we have started and it is set to grow over time.
Okay, Saj, please, just to add on to that, just tell us, answer in addition to what we were asking before about students who have their own applications done and then they don't have a follow-through plan from the groundwork.
Yes, I think that Giovanni gave the best answer. At the local level, I think KLab is a good place for incubating these ideas and kind of guiding to young people, young developers. What I would say is actually that being successful requires a lot more than just having programming skills. It requires also having some business acumen. You have to be able your products. You have to be able to read the market, to kind of analyze the demand for it and find a niche for your product, and you have to be able to actually manage the business. You have to be able to communicate it, advertise it, and I do believe that all these skills, including of course talking to investors, all these skills are skills that innovation labs like your lab can help young developers with. And I think it's a great resource to have in the country. And I would also say that there is a lot of goodwill from the government that young people should also take advantage of. So having platforms like YouthConnekt and Hangout, participating in these sort of platforms to get yourself known and know your fellow developers and also interact with the policymakers in your country so that they know what you're doing and they know that you have great ideas that can be useful for the country. I think these are opportunities that I would strongly encourage young people to pursue.
Okay, thank you very much, Saj. I would like to inform Friday James, who's joining us from Gasabo, that your group will be the first one with the questions. So just prepare them. We'll be with you in about 2 minutes. I'll go ahead and introduce the challenges that we have today. That is what has brought different parts of the world today here. In our previous Hangout sessions, we touched on the need for integration of technology into our everyday lives to help solve some of our recurring issues in various sectors: health sector, education sector, agricultural sector, tourism. So recognizing the significant opportunity of mobile technologies, MyICT, UNDP, and Motorola Solutions have entered into a partnership to address these challenges and stimulate the use of mobile-related solutions on a larger scale. The 3 questions that are being asked when it comes to this challenge that we are going to present: are you a young social innovator in the ICT sector who is passionate about finding solutions to pressing development issues? Number 2, do you know how to develop mobile applications? And number 3, do you have any innovative idea that will benefit your society or community in those sectors that are mentioned? Today's Hangout session is for you. You're required to apply for the YouthConnekt Mobile Applications for Human Development Challenge. The challenge, Huye has left us, but we have the 4 remaining. So this challenge has the unique aim of encouraging the youth to participate in innovation and development while promoting entrepreneurship at the very same time. It will help individuals who create those apps to grow their businesses while at the same time having fun and receiving mentorship. So you're required to go to the MyICT website, myict.gov.rw, and the UNDP website, undp.org, to get the application form so that you can present your mobile applications. Now, on to the interesting part. The first prize for whoever gets these applications correct and whoever wins the first position gets $6,000. Wow. Number 2 gets $3,000. Number 3 gets $1,500. Number 4 gets $1,000, and number 5 the same, $1,000. But that's not it. The money is only as an incentive to push you further. In addition to the cash prize, the first winner will receive business training and successful entrepreneurs throughout the final phase of their startup. So that will cover all the groundwork, moving from step 1 to step 2, which is implication and application of the development for apps. So for more information, you can access the MyICT website and the UNDP websites for all the information. And you can also follow the Twitter page for YouthConnekt, that is at YouthConnekt, CONEEKT, for all the information regarding the same. So we'll go straight to Friday James, who is in Gasabo. So you can start us off with some of the questions that you have to the panelists, knowing all the sectors that they work in. So over to you, Friday James.
Thank you, George, and thank you, Honorable Minister. We're here with the majority, well, we are guys only, but the majority are from lineups. a company that deals with mobile application and web apps development. They have more, but here with me is Remy, who is the director and the co-founder of this company. He has a question for you.
Okay. Hello, guys. Hello, sir. Minister.
Hello. Yes.
So, we are currently here because we are a mobile application development company. We are working now on one of our projects, an online payment system and money transfer, which is based on scratch card code used. We saw that most people in Africa don't have bank account. So how to facilitate them using some online payment system based on scratch card code to allow them for purchasing some goods and everything and transfer money to their friend. So we think about an idea which is called Line Money. The system is currently based on, how I said before, on scratch card codes. So the user have just to buy a scratch card code, a Line Money scratch card codes, recharge his account, and perform some transaction online, buying things. Even now we are dealing with a WhatsApp company for allowing people to purchase cash power electricity. So how the system will work is like when a user purchases an electricity via his cash power, the cash power will automatically be updated with the scratch card code. So the user will never input those codes again in his cash power. Is what we are working on now.
Fantastic.
All right. So basically, I
see we're already excited about the idea.
You know, I think this is a fantastic idea, Remy. I just only hope that you will execute it very nicely, technically, but also business-wise, because it's a very powerful idea. Yesterday, I was punching numbers in my, cash power. It's so easy to buy it, but then you need to be at home to go physically, punch when the cash power is in a place where it can rain, you can understand all the inconvenience.
Yes,
and I have my mother who's in the Western Province, very far. So sometimes because she doesn't know how to buy a power, I do it for her, and I send an SMS containing the number, and she has to find somebody to read the number and punch in into that cash power machine. So if you can find a way of integrating directly with EWASA systems and updating my account, my cash power account, without having to punch the numbers, oh my God, you will have made it. But secondly, the second idea that you have, the cash over scratch cards, I've seen somebody else who's presented the same idea, and it's a different idea actually, but it's almost the same, because the idea of that guy, I hope I'm not breaking a secret here, because he has already registered the invention with RDB, is actually to transform airtime to cash, but he's facing a lot of problems. I don't think that it will ever work. The idea is very simple, but then it has a lot of regulatory implications that the tax authorities, the central bank, and others are looking into. But I think the two ideas that you are proposing, in this product, are just amazing, and I just want to encourage you and make sure, guys, you do an excellent job. Find somebody who's good at marketing, or maybe you have already those people on the team. Do an excellent product development, and the market is just waiting for the product.
Thank you.
So we are thinking launch the product on 1st March for the first testing, the beta version. It will be a mobile-based and web-based applications. So it will also have a marketplace where people can buy foods, buy many things directly, and some delivery system with the online payment system.
Okay, do you have a preferential partnership with any of the telecom operators, or it's open to everyone?
No, we are. It's not with telecom operation. It's based system. It's an online system. So we will generate our cards, our voucher card, Line Money voucher card. It will not be those one for Airtel or others.
Interesting.
Good.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other follow-up? Friday, James?
Well, so far the guys are still thinking about it, but we'll be back at you when you come back.
I think it's better to announce the challenge then.
Yes.
Then they can react.
All right. So should we go straight to Serge to give us more about the challenge?
I hope that that idea is going to inspire others to have more creative ideas. And I would like to second the words of encouragement of Honorable Minister. What I would also say is that innovation is actually not really a straightforward process. It's not. It's going to be really hard for you to find the right idea right away. You're probably going to fail a couple of times before you get it right, and that's part of the innovation process. And I think that there's having this tolerance for failure is very important to be successful as an innovator. About the challenge. Aside from saying that UNDP is very happy to be supporting these efforts and working with Motorola on this, I think that you've mentioned everything that needed to be known. There are prizes involved. You can win some real support and some real money that could help you kickstart your company. We in UNDP were particularly interested in those applications that would help your local communities. That would help solve the challenges that you face in your local community, and that will help further the development objectives of the country and of your peers. In the same way, if, like Mr. Minister said, if it positively affects your mother, your cousin, anyone, your neighbors, anyone within your community, those will be fantastic applications for human development. That's what when we say human development, we actually really mean that people are at the center of what we're talking about. UNDP's approach has always been to put people at the center. So I would urge all developers to keep that in mind when developing and submitting the ideas for the challenge.
Timing? Did you announce the timing, the deadlines?
Yes. The deadline for the proposals is 20th of February. That's a week from now. A week from now. The deadlines for the proposals, 20th of February, and as I had informed you earlier, you can access the application letter from the undp.org website or the myict.government.gov.rw, or you can follow the YouthConnekt at YouthConnekt on Twitter. The links will be posted there, or using the hashtag YouthConnekt. That's YouthConnekt. The Connect is written with a K. So you can follow all the links that you need for the application form. All the details will be there. So follow through and make sure that you submit your applications. It's really simple. You just your applications and what needs to be done in the application and the funding and everything that needs to be done, and all will be followed up through from there. So we are being joined by Huye. Aimenda Isenga.
Yes, please. Can you see us?
Yes, we can. You're joining us when the party is almost over.
We are so sorry. We had several problems.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So we'll just go ahead and announce. Is there nothing else is left to announce the Hangout session? We had a question that was presented us online, and it was to the health sector, the Rwanda Education Board sector rather. And what are the solutions to some of the challenges that you face? Because we see that you're involved directly in the ICT, and what are some of the challenges that you face when it comes to coming up with platforms and mobile applications that will help people in the education sector? What are some of the challenges that you face?
I think one of the challenges is when the young innovators bring their own innovations, they want first to say we want to implement them, but they don't think that it is a process of getting them mature enough to be on the market. So sometimes we advise them, before you look for money, it's better that we start maybe by a pilot and incubation. So we put them in some classroom for free, not for free as such, but for them to mature, to help them to correct some errors and to give them a terrain where they can implement, the field where they can implement their applications. So sometimes they are reluctant. That's what I have seen. Young innovators are reluctant to try them in the real world where the application will be implemented. So that's one of the challenges I've seen. They want money first before the project is mature.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ibod. We'll move to Sam Musindi, who's in Ngoma, to tell us more about the students joining him today.
Okay, thank you, George. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, outside. Thank you, everyone in the remote areas around the country. Here we just, before even the conversation started as such, we had a kind of discussion between us, and I do not want to get into the discussion that we had, but I would like to tell two of our students from INNOTEC who are here that have one has a question, another one has a suggestion. We start with a question from Mr. Kagawa.
Thank you so much. I'm called Kagawa. I have a question. Since we are here in rural areas, and we want also to apply these mobile application forms, so I would like to ask the Minister, what are you doing so that these current businessmen may also use these application forms, for example, here in rural areas? Thank you.
So we could go to Valens with a suggestion. Yes, Valens, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister of Youth and ICT. Just as I said before, during our last session, mobile technology is really useful for our Rwandan community, especially for the youth. I'd like to make a remark about our today's youth. They do really used to take alcohol and drugs. I say as a clinical psychologist. Now, I would like to highlight this because we could make an application that can help our youth, our fellow Rwandans, especially the youth, to become free from mental illness. You see, many youth are suffering from mental illness related to substance abuse. That's why we are required to make an application, especially on mobile phones, that will help the youth to sort out their problem related to mental illness, the illness that comes from the substance abuse. I would like to encourage everyone, especially I would like to send my proposal to Honorable Minister of Youth and ICT to work together with other concerned levels and sectors to sort out this issue through carrying or putting in place a policy that will help the youth to get information through mobile phones related to mental illness. It will help them to sort their issue related to mental illness toward a sustainable development. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much, Samuel. So we'll pass the floor over to Honorable Minister.
Well, thank you very much, guys in INNOTEC for the excellent contributions. On the first question of, I'm not sure that I got it correct because I heard you said application forms.
Yeah.
Rural areas, how they can fill them.
He probably needs to know how people without access to internet can apply for the challenges.
No. I mean, well, there are two things. Can you clarify what you?
Okay, let me make it clear.
No, the first one. I got yours.
Was asking about mobile application.
Mobile application.
Exactly. Okay, I understand you. Only that you said application forms, but mobile application and how the people in the rural areas can be using those applications. So first of all, you need to realize that actually applications have taken us by storm. Without knowing, you are already using, I'm sure. The statistics here in Rwanda show that more than 60% of all mobile subscribers, and we've got about 6.5 million mobile subscribers, 60% of them, which makes something like 3,600,000 subscribers have already registered on a mobile money application. So those people cannot be from cities. The majority of them are coming from rural areas. So people without knowing actually have started using mobile apps. So mobile money is a mobile app. Purchasing airtime online, purchasing cash power. It's a mobile app. Somebody is making good money for having for selling that service on the mobile. So, but I agree with you that more could be done, and I think this challenge gives us the exact opportunity to go in a rural area and to look at one of the challenges that they have. You know that most of our development challenges are acute in the rural areas because that's where more than 80% of the Rwandan population, for instance, live. So if your application is trying to address a need or a pain point of people living in the rural areas, because we know they have telephones, and you supply or you put up an application that they will be able to use and help themselves, I'm not part of the judges. I will not be, but you will have a higher chance, I guess, to win this contest. So the market is the one dictating where these applications are going, and people are ignoring a big part of the rural market. That's why the ministry started the ICT awareness campaign. We specifically target very remote and rural areas. We bring all sorts of applications that are available. We do demonstration, we do road shows, and you need to look into the people's eyes and the kind of excitement they have. Some of these people are touching the computer for the first time. Some of them didn't know the sorts of things you can do online. So you need to be doing more and more. And when something comes and addresses a very specific pain point of somebody, regardless of where they are, they will adopt it. And you can disprove the people who believe that there is no demand at the bottom of the pyramid. So that's the first question. The second question, it's a fantastic idea of something that can actually go into this contest. You know, mental illness is something that is neglected. People don't have the basic literacy when it comes to knowing that people can be mentally ill. So I'm sure our prisons are full of people who have been judged as having committed crimes, whereas they were maybe mentally not okay. They should go to the hospital, not to the jail. We don't know how to recognize somebody who has a problem. So we tend to condemn what they say or what they do without really knowing that they are suffering, they need our assistance. So how can you promote that basic mental health literacy using mobile technology? Wow, that would be a very nice app. You know, this other idea of helping young people to get away from drug abuse, you know, providing a mobile app to help people not engage or quit drug abuse. It's another fantastic idea. In fact, the company that I worked for sort of pulled off from Rwanda to really focus only on that same idea in the North American market. The application is called Text to Quit. You can Google it. It is helping people quit smoking, just simple smoking. Forget about substance abuse. So it Text to Quit. It's the US, it's North America. Many people have smartphones, but they went for the most basic phone. Everyone here in Rwanda has. You can be using your handheld to help you, to assist you trying to quit a bad habit that you have acquired, which can eventually lead into mental health problems. Now, an advice that I'd like to give to all the guys around here who look forward to this contest: please spend time, and research. Don't come up with an idea and jump out of your bathroom, eureka, you found something. Maybe you could, 100 people before you could have found exactly the same thing that you think you're the one to invent. So it's not because an idea is popping up in your mind and you haven't had it anywhere before that it is new. It is far from being new. Just try it. Start with Google and start some specialized research before you go ahead and develop something from scratch, which is already available somewhere. On the last call, what I told you was to be even smarter. If the idea has been developed in another context, but it's an open source, why don't you start by customizing that open source and adapting to your own reality? It's also innovation and taking it to the market. Some of the very nice solutions are dead, not because they are technically flawed, but because nobody was smart enough to take them to the market, or because they came a bit too early. Now it is the time. There are many reasons. So please have a very open mind. It's okay to find that your idea, somebody else find it out. If you run out of ideas, please come to me. I'll have tons of ideas, but you will owe me a share if you win. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Honorable Minister. We wanted to connect to Huye, but Emin Daisenga and his team are not available. So we'll just go back to Friday James as we are about to wind up. So Friday James, if you have anything else to add or anything for the panelists, this is your turn.
All right, thank you, George. Before we get into the comments, we have a gentleman here who has a question that hadn't been answered last week, and they want to really point it out so that you could maybe address it before we move on. So, please.
Thank you. My name is Musa. I am from KLab. Last time I asked a question, and the question was I think it was simple. The country is investing really in 4G LTE, but the 4G LTE, how efficient is the 3G used, existing 3G used, and 3.5 and everything? And how many people would be able to buy LTE-enabled devices with the 4G LTE coming? Another question which I'm putting on today, which was not from the previous session, is how many backbones do we have in the country? Every single telecom company has got a backbone, and all of them are called national backbones. Is there any harmonization? Thank you.
All right. Let's have you guys tackle that.
Okay, let me take these two questions very quickly. The first one is how good is 4G, 3G, and 3.5G as we plan to go 4G. First of all, I'd like to clarify that the 2G, 3G, 4G evolution is not a sequential evolution. The 4G is not built on 3G. 3G is not built on 2G. So some countries have started straight on 3G, and we are actually here in Rwanda, we are leapfrogging 3G altogether to go to 4G. We will still have some good and robust deployments of 3G in the main urban areas, Kigali and the secondary cities, but without waiting until we do a national rollout of 3G, we are leapfrogging already to 4G. So 3G itself was being deployed. I think no company has even deployed 100% in Kigali. So which shows it was a work in the progress. But we don't want to wait, another 15 years to finish the rollout. It took 15 years to finish the national route of 2G. We are not going to take another 10 years to finish 3G before we go to the 4G. By that time, others will have moved to 5G. So we want to be among the first to go to 4G, and then we are committed to staying ahead of the curve. So that's one. But the 3G is good when you have it. When your device can have a 3G coverage, usually you have a better internet experience. It is not the best. It is not what we want, but still it is much better than what most people have. You can still watch this Hangout on 3G. I've done it. When it's not live, when you find it on YouTube. Secondly, how many people will afford the 4G devices? Now, we want many people to afford 4G devices. Otherwise, it will be a failure. We are putting a lot of money in building this network. So if people can't afford the devices and use it, it will basically be a commercial failure. So we spent really a lot of time thinking about that. So there are two measures. One, 4G devices are still expensive. I think there is no 4G device under $100 mark. So it shows they are still expensive. So the strategy is not to go for 4G devices as such. We are targeting Wi-Fi enabled devices. So what you do is you have a device which looks like this thing. It's called egg. It's called an egg. It can have the size of just a simple thumb drive. It has a SIM card inside, and that egg will act as a hotspot. So you just buy the egg, you put it here. Everyone in the office here can utilize very fast internet connecting through that egg. So you don't need to have a 4G enabled device. Secondly, 4G is not for voice. It's not for calls. You can use your Viber, you can use your Skype, you can use your WhatsApp. But if you want to make a call to a regular phone user, 2G or 3G, you need to be on 2G or 3G. You can't call them from 4G. So it's not a technology for voice. Voice over LTE is something that is still developing. It hasn't gone commercial. At some point it will go commercial. But mobility is also important. So there are devices which are 4G enabled. Like my phone is 4G enabled already. It's just waiting for the network to come. So I'll be able to enjoy wherever the coverage is going to be. And as you know, we are targeting 95% population coverage within the next 3 years. So we are still on course. So that's the answer. But I think I took time to explain a bit the background so that you can also explain to others, because those are questions which keep coming back. Now, the backbone. The backbone, how many backbones do we have? Well, how many backbone a human body has? It can only be one. We can keep adding branches, ribs, members, but it adds on the same backbone. It's okay that operators can set up their own transmission infrastructure when it makes commercial sense for them. But we have enacted a regulation that is called infrastructure sharing. So if you have a backbone which moves from here to the border of Tanzania and you have some business to connect there, you are not required to dig up your own, hole and put your own backbone infrastructure. You can always ride on top of the fiber that has been already installed by even a competitor. Same applies to towers, telecom towers. The infrastructure sharing policies are there. So we are really going into the sense of sharing. Now this 4G LTE takes the sharing aspect even further. It is going to be a single wholesale network. So people have put money together, they build one network instead of competing and putting a lot of money, which will result into high prices for the end users. So we have one backbone, but with many branches, and some portions of it are operated by the private. A big part used to belong to government. Now it has gone to this private company that we are putting in place. So, in fact, many people make mistakes when they say how much cable that we have rolled out in the country. They always talk about the amount of infrastructure that government has put, and they forget to mention the other investments made by the private sector. So when you add it up all, instead of being 3,000 kilometers that were rolled out by government, underground, you have to add the 1,700 that are on the electricity cables. So it gives you 4,700. You add another couple of thousands, and it gives you about 7,000 kilometers of optic fiber that is available as our backbone infrastructure in Rwanda.
Hey, thank you very much. It's a lot that we don't know. We usually understand from these Hangout sessions. Thank you. But I hope your question has been answered. We are really running short of time, so we would like to. You're saying something, Friday?
Yeah, sure. Well, the guys here are really interested and very psyched up about the competition. But before we move on, Remy wanted to ask a question concerning the contest, and then we'll be done, I guess.
So I'm not getting away with the competition. Is it to build our mobile apps like such as iOS apps or Android apps, or are USSAID based on working with telecom network?
All right, so I think the best person to answer that is Serge Klepto. Could you kindly elaborate on that as well?
Yes, thank you. Before I answer that question, I'd like to come back to a couple of issues that have been raised before, particularly to a friend from the rural area. I would say that I would actually return the question back to him and the challenge to him. Because if he lives in the rural area, then he's the real expert about what it means to be in the rural area and what kind of challenges he's facing in the rural areas. So he's the person that's best placed to figure out solutions to those challenges. And that's the reason why we are encouraging innovators, local innovators from the South. So look critically at the environment around you and the issues that you're facing. And I think that some ideas would come to you. Now, on the fourth question, I actually would second. I won't come back to the minister as beautifully explained what it's all about, but I would have to say that being a recent 4G user here in New York, and it's a very recent deployment here as well, there is the magnitude of difference between 3G and 4G is huge, and the kind of applications that it would allow that you cannot do on 3G. It's just tremendous having that much more bandwidth to play with. And I think that's something that should be actually exciting for local innovators to have that resource, that additional resources that is at their disposal. I think that it's part of innovating. You have to start looking ahead. If 4G is going to be rolled out across the country, I think for an entrepreneur, it will be good to start thinking about the kind of application that would eventually be deployed on it and the kind of market that it could create for your product. Now, regarding the last question, well, no, there is no restriction. It's mobile app, whether it's running on Android or running on iOS or using USSD protocol, as long as it's running on mobile, that would be great. And I would say look at your market as well. Who are the potential users? What sort of systems do they use? What sort of device do they have? Do they have smartphones or do they have dumb phones? If they do have dumb phones, then maybe it would just be an SMS app. The minister spoke about the text to quit app, which is SMS based. You can do great things over SMS. You can do great things over USD. You can have some really useful applications running on dumb phones. It doesn't have to be the most advanced of the platforms. And as the minister said, you can also take advantage of customize some ideas that are already out there that are open source and adapt them to your local environment. Indeed, that is also innovation, and that's also something that I would encourage very much. So there is no. I wouldn't really put some boundaries on some limits on your thinking. That's not what innovation is about. Really think outside the box and get out there and do something. Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much, Serge. We'll be coming back to you for your closing remarks, and the Honourable Minister as well for the closing remarks. So just to touch on what is required for the mobile applications challenge. Number one, this challenge is for young people between the age of 18 to 35. This is for everyone who is interested and for any questions that you have. Between 18 and 35 years of age, the application is only via online proposals. So you can go to the UNDP website, as I had mentioned before, undp.org, or the Ministry of Youth and ICT website, that is myict.gov.rw. You'll find a download link for a form that you can fill and that you can present, a link also that you can present your form as well for submission for your application. Number three, You can follow the YouthConnekt on Twitter and the YouthConnekt hashtag for any more details that you might require regarding the same, just any side information that you might need, or the Facebook page that is YouthConnekt. The 4 areas that will be covered in this mobile applications challenge are agriculture, education, governance, health, and gender. So those 5 are the ones that you should focus. That is basically everything that is required. That's the backbone, as you were saying, of the country. So you can focus your applications on those 5, or at least related applications on the same. So thank you very much, Friday James in Gasabo District. Thank you very much, Samuel Msindi in Inatek, Ngoma, and Eminda Isenga, although you can't see us from Huye. Thank you very much for joining us, if you could hear us or see us. So at this particular point, we'll give the final remarks to Serge Klepto and Honorable Jean-Philippe Senjumana to at least wind up our Hangout session today.
Thank you. That has been very exciting. I do like the energy that the questions that we're getting from young people. It shows that there's really interest in the country, and I'm looking forward to the ideas that will be submitted for the challenge. I'm very happy to reiterate the UNDP support for this. We are in it for the long haul, and we are going to be part of it. We're going to see through it. Honorable Minister, you can rest assured of that. And also, I would, on behalf of our colleagues at Motorola, also reiterate their support for this initiative. We're very happy to be part of it and supporting it. It was a great opportunity to engage. I hope that the next Hangouts I'll be invited again. I'm kind of liking it.
Don't miss it.
Yes. But I have to say also a bit unfortunate that I'm too old now to be one of the innovators.
We can change
I do have some ideas of my own.
77.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and thanks to my fellow panelists, and thank you to the young people that were with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you. Over to you.
Well, mine is also to thank all the participants. Thank you, Serge, for joining us from New York. It's been great. Really, I think this is the first time we are bringing on this Hangout somebody who's in abroad. So certainly technology isn't going to be the problem as far as running successful Hangouts is concerned, but it really adds an extra dimension. And you didn't just come to smile, you came with a huge opportunity and a big envelope. So I encourage the guys really to go for it. I think we still have a lot of work to do in terms of disseminating this opportunity. It doesn't just belong to the ones that made it to the different rooms that we are connected with. So we're going to be communicating a lot about these challenges. And I think we need to look beyond the surface, the challenge itself, and a few mobile solutions that are going to emerge, and really look at what is the intention, what is it that you are creating, because we are really crafting something new. And if we do well, and we do it with passion, with perseverance, and because the purpose is clear, I think we are going to go far. So I encourage especially the K-Lab to really disseminate this news among all the innovators. My dream with this Hangout is to put a stop to every complaint that the young people have, that there are no opportunities, and put back the ball in their court. There will be tons of opportunities, but opportunities will only be captured by those who are ready. So there is an issue of being ready, of being open-minded, of being positive-minded. The opportunities are here. This is going to be the first one, but it will be followed by many others. You remember the Minister of Agriculture announced a 30,000 USD challenge at the end of the e-agriculture summit. The money is already slipping on an account.
I've applied for it already.
You see, now these guys have already tried to snatch it.
Oh, right.
So there will be many more opportunities, but they will not only come, in form of challenges. We are talking about accessing mentors, accessing, resources. Right now, I've offered to provide ideas even as part of this same challenge. So can you tap on my experience 3 years ago when I was working in the private sector and share some thoughts with a group that is going to be willing to approach me for advice. Not a meeting in the office, but on Skype. On Twitter.
On Twitter, yes.
I'll be there. So that's really the purpose of this Hangout. We are very glad to be joined by Dr. Evod from the Ministry of Education. You guys, that this guy is probably the biggest consumer you can ever think of. If you think about an app in the education sector and it's well done and it meets a pain point by the educators or the parents or the students, you know that she's going to be there to be your voice. So we'll keep bringing very competent and able panelists every time. So guys, we want to see more of you interacting beyond this Hangout. Go on Twitter, go on Facebook, remain in touch. Thank you very much and see you next Hangout, which is in 2 weeks from now. Also, we invite
Thank you.
Certainly.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
All right, so that's how we end. Okay. How did it go? Any complaints?
No.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right. Hopefully you guys will be back and probably ask some other guys to be part of this because we need to grow the number of people who attend and see how we can share different ideas.
Is the mic still live?
Can I leave you a question?
It's not. Oh, I left it on.